Hey everybody, Chris Baker here from LuckyGunner.com. Today we are looking at the new Sig Sauer P322. It's a semi-automatic 22 LR pistol with a couple of interesting features that we don't often see in most other 22s. An optics-ready slide and double-stack 20-round flush-fitting magazines. The P322 is similar to a 22 training pistol in the sense that it looks and feels like a defensive style pistol, but unlike rimfire trainers such as the Glock 44 or the FN502 Tactical, the P322 is not a 22 version of an existing model. The dimensions are similar to the P320 Compact, but the shape is different and it's a little slimmer. That means it is not compatible with holsters for any existing Sig models. It seems like Sig was maybe going for something that could serve as a training pistol either for a P320 or for a P365. That's similar to what Smith & Wesson did with the M&P 22 Compact, which is sized somewhere between the centerfire Compact and the original single-stack Shield. Now, this actually makes for a convenient comparison because I have been a big fan of the M&P 22 Compact since they first came out 8 years ago. Even though I no longer own any centerfire M&P pistols, I kept the 22 Compact because it's been very reliable and it's just an overall well-designed 22 pistol. So as far as I'm concerned, this is the gun to beat for any new defense style 22. The one thing the M&P Compact is missing that I wish it had is an easy way to add a red dot sight. There are optic mounting plates that will fit into the rear sight dovetail, but the gun wasn't designed for that extra weight, and that tends to compromise reliability. So that is why the Sig P322 caught my attention. The slide comes from the factory with a cutout to direct mount a red dot optic. You just remove a couple of screws and then you pull off this rear sight assembly here, and then you can direct mount a compact red dot optic. It's designed for the Sig Romeo Zero optic that is not included with the gun, but we did happen to have one sitting around, so we went ahead and mounted it to this gun. Any other optic with the RMSC footprint should also fit. Adapter plates are available from third-party companies for other optic footprints like the RMR. Now, if you just want a 22 with a red dot, we have had Target style 22s available with that feature for years now, but it's not something you could easily find on the defense or training style 22s. FN released the optics ready 502 Tactical last year, and as far as I know, that's the first one. I believe that makes the P322 the second. The other interesting feature here is the 20-round double-stack flush-fitting magazine. Almost every other 22 uses single-stack 10-round mags. The FN502 comes with an extended 15-round mag, but it's still a single-stack. Then, of course, there's the Kel-Tec CP33 with those crazy quad-stack magazines. But generally speaking, rimfire pistols already present enough challenges for reliable feeding, and that's why most manufacturers stick with the proven single stack design. If Sig has cracked the code on a reliable double stack 22 pistol magazine, that would be a significant accomplishment. So right out of the gate, the P322 is looking very promising. A couple other features here. The takedown is quick and easy. Just lock the slide open, and then the takedown lever here, rotate that up, pull the slide back, up, and off just like that. And now inside the frame we can see the hammer here is cocked. This is a single action only design with an ambidextrous manual safety. It's a pretty decent safety design. It's got a very positive click on and off. The pistol comes with a flat trigger shoe installed, but there is also a curved trigger shoe included in the box if you want to swap those out. The muzzle is threaded, and with the included muzzle adapter, you can attach a suppressor. So that's a lot of nice features, a lot of great potential here. Did this Sig P322 live up to that potential? I am very sorry to say that it did not. And let's start with the trigger pull. Now, if I'm honest, this is more of a nitpick than an actual serious complaint. The trigger is just a little spongy feeling after the initial take up. The trigger has that kind of springy, plasticky feel that you get with some striker fired pistols. It's not nearly as crisp as the triggers on the P320s and the P365s that I've shot. So if you do want to use this as a training analog for your centerfire SIG, don't expect the trigger to have quite the same feel. It is a very accurate pistol. I was able to get a couple of 5-round groups under an inch shooting from a bench rest at 25 yards. But it's difficult to take advantage of that accuracy potential with such a mediocre trigger. The bigger issues I had with this gun are all related to its inability to function reliably. The slide stop does not work correctly. It barely locks the slide open. The slide will close if you just look at it funny. Or anytime you insert a loaded magazine. The slide doesn't always lock open after firing the last round. When it does, if you remove the mag, the slide closes. This gets a lot worse when the gun is warm. It seems fine now, but every time we've taken it to the range, the slide stop issues return. The double stack magazines seem to work surprisingly well. We have run a little over 1,000 rounds through the gun, all with the 2 mags that came in the box. We tried several different brands of ammo. It did not like the Federal Punch self-defense ammo at all. It did not even want to chamber the first round of that stuff. That's not too surprising because that load uses an unconventional bullet shape. With pretty much everything else, it has fed very reliably. We had maybe 3 failures to feed. At least one of those was probably from improperly loading the magazine. About half the ammo we ran through it was 40 grain round nose CCI mini mags, and it didn't seem to have any issue with cycling that load. However, we did experience numerous failures to fire across all the loads we tried. They became more frequent when the gun started to get dirty, but even when it was clean and freshly lubed, we still got the occasional click where we expected a bang. Of course, the issue of light primer strikes is one that commonly plagues .22 pistols in general. Anytime a new model comes out, we're always hoping that they've figured out a way to achieve more reliable ignition. Sadly, SIG does not seem to have solved that problem with the P322. The last issue I want to mention did not show up until we had put about 400 rounds through the P322. Our camera guy, Kenneth, was shooting at our steel at 50 yards, and he just wasn't hitting anything. So he shot a few rounds at 5 yards onto a B8 bullseye, and this is what it looked like. Severe keyholing from the bullets tumbling or yawing in flight. He checked the barrel and saw that the culprit was the significant buildup of lead, especially evident at the muzzle. We got the gun cleaned up, took it back out the next day. After a few hundred more rounds, we saw a little bit of the keyholing here and there, but nothing like the day before. My guess is that most of the leading was coming from the non-jacketed ammo that we had been shooting that day. I looked around online, and this apparently is a common issue with the P322. I don't know if the barrels are slightly out of spec or something like that, but it looks like a lot of other P322 owners have experienced an unusual amount of lead buildup. Just like in our case, the first symptom is usually a sharp decline in accuracy and keyholing on the target. Now, even with all of those problems, I'm still holding out hope that the Sig P322 could be a good pistol. Maybe not this specific P322. This one needs a lot of work. Maybe SIG will fix it for us. But I think most of these issues, aside from the squishy trigger, are flaws of manufacturing rather than design. Unfortunately, it's common these days for gun manufacturers to treat early adopters like they're guinea pigs. They wait for the customers to tell them what problems have come up in production, and then they implement the necessary changes for the next batch of guns, hopefully. That's why it's almost always a good idea to wait at least a year before buying a new model, especially if it's a completely new design like the P322. And I'm not trying to single out SIG here. The FN502 Tactical is another great example, except they had to actually issue a recall because there was a safety issue. If you are interested in the P322, you might want to wait a while before you buy one. Give SIG a chance to get the bugs worked out, let the price cool down a little. The MSRP is about 450 bucks, but it's selling at a lot of places for between like $500 and $600. That is a lot to pay for a 22 that may or may not have problems like what we've experienced with this one. Personally, while I think the 20 round mags are really cool, that extra capacity is not something I've ever felt was missing on other 22 pistols. I would just like to see a defense slash training style 22 that is optics ready and reliable, even if that means settling for the more traditional 10 round mags. For now, the M&P 22 Compact will continue to be my go-to rimfire pistol, but I hope we get a chance to revisit the P322 sometime in the future. Hope you guys have found this review helpful. If so, be sure to subscribe to our channel if you have not already. That really helps us out. And what helps us out even more is when you buy your ammo from us with lightning fast shipping at luckygunner.com.